Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Jen Liddy, and as you might know, I'm sharing new tools every day to get through this COVID-19 virus feeling centered, grounded, and calm because everyone that I talk to, including myself, is having a roller coaster experience. And I realized that I have so many tools at my disposal that I've learned over the years, and I know so many brilliant men and women who share these tools very generously. And one of them is my friend and colleague, Meghan Thomas. Meghan is a yoga teacher and also a faith and empowerment coach. She works with women who are on the fertility journey, and she is a very healing, powerful woman. If you're ever in her presence in real life, like like it brings tears to my eyes to think about how beautiful she is in terms of her soul and her heart. So I'm so lucky that she's here today with us sharing this meditation. And this meditation, Meghan, is a really interesting one. I have learned about it from you, and I actually have lots of questions about it, but I want you to do most of the talking today and teach us about this meditation. And there's a couple of things I want to ask as you do your teaching, so I might just like put my finger up and ask for you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to mute myself and let you take the lead and tell us all about the Ho'oponopono meditation and how powerful it is. And my favorite part about this meditation is that crazy story about the prison.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to start there.
Okay.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much for having me on. And I will share how this meditation has changed for me this week, just in the last 24 hours. So I'll give you a little history about the meditation because that's what's so fascinating about it. It's a Hawaiian meditation, and it used to be used in tribes. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It was some form of that where tribes would come together, and if they had some sort of disagreement, they would all sit and do this meditation until a resolution was created, till this energy was shifted, right? They would do it in community. And Dr. Hugh Len had learned of this from, it was basically one of those meditations that was like passed down from like, teacher to student, teacher to student. So it wasn't a very widely known meditation. And Dr. Hugh Len was given this meditation by his teacher. And he started working in a Hawaiian state prison. And in this prison, he worked specifically with the mentally insane. And it was this part of the prison that literally no one wanted to work in. The stories of this time in the prison was like the paint wouldn't even stick to the walls. Like the decay was just happening on a level with the prisoners, with the people who worked there, and with the building physically itself. Like really fascinating. So when the nurses, I've read some of the testimonials of nurses who experienced Dr. Hugh Len coming in, when they were like, another psychiatrist coming in, like what kind of crazy ideas is he going to have? Like no one stays here. The turnover was just incredible with the psychiatrist and with the nurses. So he comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to see any patients. Like I'm not going to see any of the inmates. So as he starts his process, the nurses are like, oh, okay, here we go. Like what's this all about? So he would ask for the inmates' files, and he never saw the inmates except like in passing in the halls, and he never even read their files. He would take these like manila folders and place them on his desk, and then he would start to say this mantra over and over again. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And he would just say it over and over all day long. This is all he did. Eventually, he started to notice shifts happening where people started liking to come to work. The energy with the inmates was starting to shift. He talks about that even like flowers were starting to grow outside of the building. The paint started to stick. All of these shifts were just happening. And over the course of 4 years, every single inmate was released and this prison was shut down. Like literally this part of the prison shut, never opened again. Like over 4 years' time of just doing this, inmates that had always been shackled at that time were now getting unshackled and then released and then put back into a normal prison system. It was just this really incredible story. And Joe Vitale wrote a book about it. So he heard about him and then brought it kind of to the rest of the United States and started sharing it with other people. And I personally, I've been teaching this for about 4 months, I want to say. And people keep coming up to me with the craziest stories of forgiveness happening. And so how a lot of people use this meditation is in relationship with one another, right? So if you have been hurt by someone or you've hurt by someone, this is a really amazing tool to move through that forgiveness piece. And what I want to go into in a little bit different way than I've ever done in the groups that I've been holding with this is how this affects what we're doing right now. So it takes looking at that story of how Dr. Hugh Len used this. So what he is saying, because he had no connection with these inmates didn't hurt him, he didn't hurt him, vice versa, any of that. Like, it wasn't about that. What it is about is everything that is in our consciousness, we have a relationship to. Everything. So the fact that he was in a prison with these inmates, having this experience, even if he never spoke a word with them, they were in his consciousness, just like this virus is in our consciousness. So we have a responsibility to ourselves for our own healing, and we can heal anything that comes within our consciousness. Okay? So it's like looking at this like, yes, this is a tool for forgiveness and relationship and for being in relationship with people, but it goes so far beyond that as well, right? It takes it to a whole other level of what's happening. And I would love to share how this meditation has really been coming to light in my life this week. And I haven't quite shared this story yet. So bear with me in case any emotions come. But this week, I started to notice, like around Monday night, maybe to Tuesday, starting to get more into that isolation. The last time I went to a grocery store was last Saturday, so I've really just been at home. But I started to notice some thoughts coming in. And when people would call, like when my mom would call or someone would call and ask like how I was doing, I would just say things like, if I get this, it's going to be really bad, right? But that's what I was saying to everyone else. What I was telling myself and what I also was ultimately able to tell my husband was the story I was creating for myself was, if I get this, I will die, right? And I have pre-existing lung conditions. My lungs started to collapse when I was 16 years old. I've had major surgery on both lungs. Like I have almost died multiple times because of my lungs, right? So I didn't know that this was a story I was still holding on to in this way until I started to hear all of these things come up about, okay, what this virus is going to do, people that are predisposed, what that looks like, right? And how I have to be careful. Like, of course, it's about being informed and making good decisions for ourselves, but I didn't understand that I was also carrying this mantra, this negative affirmation, that I didn't want to be carrying. So to be completely honest, it didn't dawn on me until last night that I've been repeating this over and over again, that if I get this, I will die, right? And what do you do with it?
You mean you've been repeating it subconsciously?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so I started to have an awareness of like how I was saying things to other people, like, specifically people that know about my lungs and have been, through this journey with me since I was young. Right. So and other people treating me that way, like people that really know about it, right? So I was starting to, the first thing is always awareness. The first thing is having the consciousness of what are the thoughts. And then the next tool that I used to uncover and dig a little deeper was journaling. So I finally sat down yesterday and was like, what's really going on here? Like, what are you really afraid of? Right. So I knew I was already starting to say things in a way that wasn't entirely true. Does that make sense? Like the way that I would answer a question when someone would ask how you are, I would just say, well, I have to be very careful. Right.
Do you mean that you were kind of spiritually bypassing and bullshitting yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But not consciously, right?
No,
not intentionally, but because I wasn't ready to dig a little deeper. So one thing that I would encourage any of us to do during this time is to get really friendly with our fears. Right? So it took me a couple days of starting to have an awareness of what are the thoughts, and then, but really, what was I feeling? Like when I would say to someone, when someone would ask how I was doing, I would just say like, oh, I have to be very careful, right? So the thought would come out, but I would feel different in my body, right? Like I would have an awareness of like, kind of like you're like a half truth. Right,
like you're telling there's someone something underneath there, but you don't really want to process it with somebody else because you weren't even ready to process it yourself.
No, yeah. So I was not acknowledging my fear. I was not even giving myself the space to look at like what is the story you're telling yourself. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense now because what happened just through, I think 5 minutes of journaling, 5 to 10 minutes of journaling. It was literally like, hi, this is your fear and this is what I need to tell you. It was just like a simple like prompt of this is my fear and let's have a conversation back and forth on paper.
I want to show you that the people are saying like, you're not alone. Other people are having the same exact thoughts as you. So so I love that we're doing this because it's not only like helpful for people to learn what you're about to teach us, but it's also helpful to know that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
One of the things, I don't have any pre-existing lung damage or anything like that, but I have a big fear of like, how, and I think other entrepreneurs are feeling this way too. How is this going to affect my business? How is this going to affect my husband's business too? Like, how is this going to affect? And so I have a deep fear that we're going to go back into debt or that like scrambling, because we're at a really nice place in both of our businesses. And that is something that I haven't really quite fully processed. So in you releasing your awareness, like I am able to say, like, I have a very similar, like, what is this going to do to our family's financial health?
Exactly. Like I think this is the time that we need to look at what those fears are and be willing to dig a little deeper. Like be willing to look what does, I mean, I think from my understanding of what's happening from an energetic perspective, right? I'm involved with a lot of astrology and it's like a cleansing of the root chakra, right? So it's this cleansing of the root chakra, our first chakra into our second chakra, where it's like, that's where we hold our money fears, our sense of security, our connection with the earth, being grounded, right? And so here I am all week holding space for other people and leading meditations, yet I was not ready to look at what my real fear is. And like, I absolutely have money fears related to this, being an entrepreneur, making the choice that I've eliminated all risk that I can control in my life, except for my husband, who's still continuing to work and go in an environment with lots of other people and then come back home. And I'm, to the place where I'm like, oh, okay, if I hear anything of his work having any sort of outbreak, I've already made a plan to move to be by myself, right? Because of where my risks are. However, how this came to me that this is what this meditation is for, right? This meditation is for clearing whatever we have a relationship to, which is anything that is in our consciousness, right? So it's like, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I can use this to forgive the thoughts I was having, right? So ultimately, I can take these thoughts that were real fears, but I also can transmute them, right? I can actually transform them into a higher vibration thought. So through the journaling process yesterday, I was reminded that I have been faced with lung issues multiple times before and I have lived. And I forgot that. Like I forgot that. And so for anyone who's stressing about the money, right? About money,
right.
You have probably been in that place before, that place you're afraid of going back to, and you've survived. I forgot all week that I survived. Like all week.
I say to my clients all the time, you have a 100% survival rate for all the shit that you've ever dealt with.
I forgot.
And we don't necessarily want to go back to it because we already know how hard it was.
Yep.
But I think we forget that if we were to do all of that again, we're different people than we were the first. Like we're actually more equipped to handle it now.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that all the time.
I forgot. So everything, how this relates to people with pre-existing conditions, this relates with money, this relates with any fear that is coming up for you right now. You have survived everything, right? And I forgot that until I was able to sit down and journal and was like, okay, this is your fear. So I had an awareness of like, I'm afraid. So starting to recognize like, what are you feeling in your body? Are you tense? Do you feel pressure in your heart, your throat? Starting to have an awareness of what's going on in your body and then giving yourself the space to be curious enough to look at it and be like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? Body, what are you trying to tell me? Fear, what are you trying to tell me? What is that relationship? And then through that process of looking at it, I was able to remember my own resilience. I was able to remember like, oh yeah, like you did survive that. So the story is not correct for me anymore. So the story I was telling myself yesterday that if I get this, I will die is not true today for me. And I believe that this meditation allows us to forgive the thought, to forgive the fear. So you can use this meditation in relationship with people, but you can use it with anything, with the thought, right? And Gabby Bernstein talks about like the choose again method. Have you heard that? The choose again, which is like having an awareness of a thought, forgive the thought, and then raising the vibration, which is usually
really
like
powerful. It makes a lot of sense.
So that's what we're doing. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. And you can do this in any order. So if you start to look on YouTube or on Spotify, they have tons of musical versions. I will give us all an experience of doing it together, but you can do it in any order. So whatever resonates with you with the mantra, I do, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, but the order does not matter.
Okay.
So I want you to think of it in the sense of, this is a good visual to help you understand what it's like in relationship with people. So say Jen and I had an issue together, right? And she may not even know about it, right? So I'm mad at Jen. Jen has hurt me for something, right? But Jen doesn't even really know that this has happened. I'm holding this in my consciousness. It's like this energetic rope being held from Jen. Jen's holding the rope and I'm holding the rope, okay? I'm upset, I'm hurt, right? When I start doing this meditation every day and thinking about Jen and thinking about how she hurt me, right? I start to drop the rope. So I drop the rope, energetically, something happens with Jen. So Jen doesn't know I'm sitting at home doing this meditation in relation to her every single day, right? But all of a sudden, I've dropped my rope and Jen's holding the rope. The weight of the rope changes for her. So energetically, she feels something happen. And this, I believe, is what's happening on a level even related to our thoughts. So that's how it works in relationship with another person. And we have had so many people who've come to the meditation. My favorite one is this woman who was doing the meditation. She did it one time with me and then started doing it, I think, for about 3 days. And I ran into her again and she said, I have to tell you this funny story. I was doing this meditation every day and all of a sudden I get this text message from someone who was not in my phone. Like it was just came from a number, right? Of saying like, I'm so sorry. And she's like laughing. She doesn't even know who this person was. Like she was just like, okay, like that's what's happening on an energetic level. So Dr. Hewlin talks about it as clearing, like bringing ourselves back to zero. So for me, yeah, neutral and bringing low vibration thoughts to a higher vibration, which is gratitude and love.
So I have a question. I know that you're going to take us through this and people are going to get to experience this, but the first time I did it, I want to say I was with you in the meditation room at Dharma Yoga and what is the first one? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
And I was thinking about, like, I had kind of come into this saying, I want to free myself from like the energetic tethers and the real estate that people take up in my head of like old wrongs, right? Like things that don't matter anymore that like I may be like carrying or whatever. So I came in thinking like, oh, forgiving other people. I also came to understand that this meditation is also about forgiving yourself. And then today I'm learning that it's also about forgiving your thoughts, right? Like, so there's a lot going on here. But I was so focused that first time about forgiving other people that I really got jammed up with like, wait, if I'm trying to forgive them, why is the second line, please forgive me? So I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I was so in my academic head about the whole thing. And I wonder, I know that other people struggle with this too.
Yeah.
The second time I did this meditation with you, I asked you about this and your answer was very helpful and I was able to let it go. And I had a very transformative experience. But I'm wondering, how can you answer that question? Like, why is it, I want to forgive you, but I have to say, please forgive me. Like, that's just a disconnect for me.
Yeah. So, and I just love the timing of Jen asking me to come on and do this today because my experience is different from even yesterday. So forgiveness is not saying that what you did to me was okay, right? There are many horrific things that we've experienced, and it's not saying that you did this thing to me and it's okay. Right? That's not what this is saying. Forgiveness is saying it's allowing yourself to have the experience of forgiveness because in many instances, the people that have hurt us aren't even here to have this conversation with, whether they're not in relationship to you or they've passed on, right? Forgiveness is for yourself. And on a deeper level, the please forgive me. So when you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, like what Jen said is the roadblock that she was experiencing is one that I think many people have that experience with. Like, okay, so am I saying, what's my relationship to this? What we're ultimately saying is please forgive me because I'm living in the past. So it's like, when we're holding anger or, hurt from someone else, ultimately we're not living in the present moment. We're living in a past experience. So it's like, we have to like move back to the present. So that's why it's zero. It's coming to zero. It's clearing. It's, in meditation, we talk about it's taking out the trash. It's literally coming to a neutral place every single morning. So it's like, okay, help me to relieve this part. Right?
Yeah. I wish I could express to you the energy that just like shot through my body when you explained it like that. Like taking out the trash is a very visceral visual that I can really hold on to.
Yeah. Mm.
Should we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm gonna change it to you, a solo layout, so that people can only see you. And I'm gonna mute myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I will be completely honest. I do this meditation for 3 minutes a day. That's it, 3 minutes a day. So when I teach it in a group, we do it for 31 minutes, and we have an experience of doing it with other people. But I'm telling you, you have 3 minutes every day to do a practice like this. So it will change. It allows me every single day to drop into this place of like, oh, I'm mad at my husband, or my husband's mad at me, to clear anything on a minute level or anything on a big level related to our fears and our consciousness. So I want you to come sitting in a comfortable position, whether you're on the floor or on a chair. Your spine is straight. Your hands can be in any position. So Gyan Mudra is your first finger and your thumb. They can be together if you want. That helps us to integrate the knowledge, the wisdom of a meditation. So if you see people doing that, that's why. You can place your hands over your heart. I love to do that with this meditation because I believe that this meditation is coming from our heart chakra, from our heart center. Or you can just have your hands relaxed in your lap. Closing your eyes and begin to say with me, we're going to do this for 3 minutes. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And just begin to say it out loud. Saying it to people, you can think about specific people or instances in your life, or you can just do this to think about yourself or your relationship with the virus or fear. Whatever comes to your mind, just allow it to go through this, raising that vibration ultimately to love. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And inhale to begin. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And just notice your thoughts, noticing any subtle changes. And slowly coming back to the room, gently opening your eyes.
What did you experience today, Meghan?
Today, it was all about the fear that I'm working on releasing related to the virus and talking to my body, right? The story that I was telling myself is not true. And that's where the please forgive me is, right? The please forgive me that's a story I created on the past. So it's like the forgiveness is forgive me for having these thoughts, right? Forgive me for having them, but then thanking the thought, right? Acknowledging, thanking the thought, and then really moving from gratitude to love.
I love this whole idea of making the forgiveness meditation be about our thoughts, because if you find that you're using it to move through a relationship with people and that gets you stuck, this helps you move back into your own self. The other way I use this meditation a lot is to forgive myself for what I've done to my body over the course of 49 years, and the thoughts I've had about my body and the way that I beat my body up, both mentally and physically. But today, the color that I saw was the red color, which it's really interesting because you were talking about it being the root chakra. And then I brought to mind a $100 bill. And then at the end, I saw blue, which is, the throat chakra. So for me, I really had an interesting move, maybe getting unstuck there.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Meghan, how can people follow you or benefit from your knowledge or work with you? I know that you are, you have an online presence and an in-person presence at Dharma Yoga, but what are the ways that people can connect with you?
Yeah. So with everything changing here, I teach locally in Syracuse in multiple locations. I teach Kundalini yoga, fertility yoga, and prenatal yoga. And now with doing things more online, Instagram is the best place at Meghan Thomas Yoga. So I will be having lots more meditations coming up and sharing my own journey with what my experience is in relation to fear, and whether that fear is related to money, related to physical well-being, family, whatever that is.
It was so nice to know. I really appreciate your honesty and vulnerability today, because I think it will help so many people who are struggling with all the areas that this coronavirus is causing us, which I know and is actually a gift for us, right? Like it's going to help us move through some things that have been keeping us stuck. Well,
It's bringing it all to light.
I cannot express to you how grateful I am for your honesty and your time and your expertise. So thank you, Meghan.
Thank you.
And please follow Meghan, because she's a real light. So thank you, Meghan.
Thank you,
Bye,
Jen.
everybody.
Thank you so much.